These results tell a pretty serious story in Wisconsin. Big shifts toward the Democratic Party.
Holy Toledo, holy smokes, holy cow. What are we talking about here? I mean, look at these shifts. Okay, and I want to put this into historical perspective for you. Dems, liberal, exceeding the previous presidential vote. So in 2025, 2026 cycle, we're talking about exceeding Kamala Harris. Look at this. We're talking about exceeding Kamala Harris, the liberal candidate did, by 21 points. 21 points, and this is part of a pattern, right? In Virginia governor, we saw the Democrat there exceeding Kamala Harris by 10, New Jersey governor by 8, and this is even better than what Democrats had back in the 2017-2018 cycles, where they were exceeding Hillary Clinton's baseline, but by 12, 4, and less than a point. So this time around, oh my goodness gracious, holy cow, holy smokes, holy Toledo. And of course, remember, Democrats took the House in 2018, and I will note that Wisconsin Supreme Court performance last night by Chris Taylor was the best for a liberal candidate in an open seat in at least 30 years.
So this was the race that we saw last night in Wisconsin, a Wisconsin Supreme Court seat, a 9-point swing there. What about Georgia in perspective? That was a special election for Marjorie Taylor Greene's House seat. Put that in perspective.
Yeah, you think a 21-point overperformance versus the Kamala Harris baseline is impressive. That ain't got nothing on what happened in Georgia. Look at this. Okay, again, putting this in perspective, 2025, 2026 U.S. House special elections. How much did the Democrats outrun Kamala Harris's baseline from 2024? Look at this. In Georgia, 25 percentage points. My goodness gracious, that beat all the other Dem overperformances, and they've overperformed in all of them. So we're even getting higher than the highest of heights. We're talking 13 in Tennessee, 7, 17 in Arizona, 7, 17 in Virginia, 11, 16 in Florida, 6, 23 in Florida, 1, and all of a sudden we're talking 25 points. The biggest Dem overperformance in a special congressional election since 2017, when Doug Jones won that Alabama special Senate election.
Yeah, and I got to say, some of the county data in Georgia and Wisconsin that we saw overnight, even better for Democrats in some key places they're looking for here. Harry, we've talked about this before. I don't like to recycle old things, as you know. I like new, but this is super important. What do special elections, what do they tell us about outcomes in midterms?
Yeah, I've used this slide before, but I'm going to recycle it because I'm going to give it extra special energy this morning to make it brand new for you. Brand new slide. Okay, special elections and midterm results. When a party outperforms in special elections, why are we looking at these specials? It's because 5 out of 5 times since the 2005-2006 cycle, that party went on to win the U.S. House of Representatives. And Mr. Berman, I will note the Kalshi prediction markets really are taking these results and saying, oh my goodness gracious, because look at this. Chance Democrats win in 2026, both the House and Senate. On January 1, it was 29%, up like a rocket now, 51%. That Democrats don't just win the House, but win the Senate as well.
Yeah, that's the both thing right there. Having a more than 50% chance to include the Senate also would be big for Democrats. Harry Enten, thank you very much for that.
Holy smokes, folks.
Democrats may have lost the Georgia 14 special election for Marjorie Taylor Greene's old seat last night, but they had one of their best performances at the polls since President Trump took office for his second term in a special election. Now, last night, Republican Clayton Fuller did win. He got over 55% of the vote, defeating Democrat Sean Harris, who got 44% of the vote. It's a difference of 12 percentage points. Again, that might not sound like a reason for Democrats to celebrate, but if you compare it to how President Trump performed in this solidly red district in 2024, he won by 37 percentage points. That was the biggest swing to the left since 2025, and it's part of an emerging trend for Democrats heading into November's midterms. David Chalian.
Yeah, so you see there, the Democrat was able to shave away 2/3 of that Trump margin from 2024. And as you noted, that is the best Democratic overperformance, as we call it, in a congressional special election since Donald Trump has taken office again. But it is the pattern that we've seen in every special election since Donald Trump has taken. Obviously, there's no denying that that is a good sign for Democrats. They're motivated. It is also true that we are seeing in these elections in the Trump 2.0 era some actual movement of previous Trump voters. I mean, we saw this in the New Jersey and Virginia gubernatorial races with Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger's victories. They didn't just have a motivated Democratic base. They were also peeling away some people that had voted for Donald Trump. So there are all the warning signs for the Republicans. That being said, November is going to be a different electorate than shows up in special elections. That's important to say. And I would say that there are two things in the Republican toolkit still. One is an overwhelming financial advantage. So when you're thinking about the midterms, and again, it's going to be a good year for Democrats, I imagine, that is one piece that hasn't come about yet. Like Donald Trump
The president has...
Do you have the numbers?
$500 million in his war chest that has not been spent yet.
That has not been spent yet. So we have to see how the Trump political team is going to deploy that as voters focus in on the midterms and how they are hoping that is going to help mitigate some of this. And the other thing is the map itself. Obviously, in House districts, we're very gerrymandered. The battle for the Senate is taking place in red states. That being said, as I think we're seeing in places like Ruby Red, Georgia, the map is also changing a bit here with the tide, and the map is not as fortified for Republicans, perhaps, as they thought going into the cycle.
And David was talking about the trend in these special elections. Yesterday, on Election Day, we had a list of the trend and showed the way that the margins for Republicans are shrinking and for Democrats are expanding. Now we put the new one from yesterday in Georgia up there, and you can see it even more starkly. From 37 percentage points in 2024 to just 12 in this election yesterday, and how that shows the trend right there on the screen, Shelby.
Right. Certainly warning signs for the Republican Party, and warning signs that the people around Trump are well aware of. So we've heard for months now that the president's top aides have been really pushing him to be out on the campaign trail more, because one of the Trump administration's core concerns is that a lot of the voters who voted for Trump are not going to show up. And that's been a struggle for the Republican Party, is that you have this figurehead who has been able to get voters who don't really vote otherwise in the presidential election. The question that the administration has is, how can we now get them to vote for other Republicans? And so you're seeing them sort of talk internally about that. But I still think the president needs a little bit of convincing. And one thing that really stands out to me when the president talks about this topic, we've heard him a few times kind of lament about how anytime there is a president in office, whether it's Republican or Democrat, they usually have a bad midterms. And to me, I wonder if he's almost a little bit resigned of the fact that maybe this will be a tough year for Republicans.